What's up guys, Sam here, and today we're talking about what I think is the best value in all of Chesapeake and Virginia Beach, Western Branch. That's the area we're talking about today, and we're starting right now. Hey, my name is Sam Sansalone. I'm a real estate agent in Hampton Roads, Virginia. Well, the real estate market in Virginia Beach and Chesapeake is crazy right now. People are going way over asking price to get houses, and scarcity has really driven the market. That has led me to be very specific about neighborhoods that I think are extremely worth pursuing for bang for buck, especially in this market. And that has led me to realize that Western Branch is an area that is not talked about enough, I don't think, and I think has lots of value because people kind of overlook this area because of its size and the distance away from lots of things, but I want to tell you some specific reasons why I think this area is definitely worth going after and possibly pursuing more than even in South Chesapeake or Virginia Beach in a lot of cases. So we're going to talk about where it is, how far it is from different places, what's around here, the shopping, like what life is like in Western Branch, and talk mainly about the real estate. It's my favorite part, talking about the drive-thrus, all the neighborhoods in this area. And then later in the video I'll talk about, while even though Western Branch is, I think, one of the best values in the entire area, there are some downsides to being in this section. We'll talk about those later. And if you wouldn't mind, as we start, if you could please tap that like button for the YouTube algorithms. If you love my videos, it really helps me tremendously and spreads the word to other people like you that are looking for this information. So thanks very much. Well, first of all, where is this Western Branch area we speak of? Well, look on the map. Let's go to that map where you'll see on the western side of the whole of the Hampton Roads south side, you'll see Virginia Beach, South Chesapeake, Portsmouth, Norfolk, and further west, close to Suffolk, is this little section called Western Branch in Chesapeake. It's near just west of 664, an interstate that runs north and south along up towards the peninsula where Hampton Newport News is, all the way down towards the southern Chesapeake area of 64. And it goes across east of this area several miles north and south. Now, this is not a huge area, and there are a ton of neighborhoods in here, and that's part of what makes this area so special. Now, the reason why it's called Western Branch is if you look on the map, you see that big river. That's the Elizabeth River. This spans into Virginia Beach, the western part of Virginia Beach, into Norfolk, all the way down through Portsmouth, and over into this section of Chesapeake. So it's the western branch of the Elizabeth River. Now, distance-wise, it's about 35 to 40 minutes away from the beach, which can feel like a long distance. I get it. Now, going towards the Norfolk Navy Base, NOB, that's also 35 to 40 minutes. And also going towards Oceana, it's 40 minutes or so, which sounds like a lot, but if you compare it to South Chesapeake, for instance, it can still take you 30 minutes to get to the beach, or 30 plus minutes to get to the Norfolk Navy Base, or about 25 minutes or so to get to Oceana. So while it is far, it's not super farther than it is, like for instance, in South Chesapeake. Now that's the time without traffic if you don't go via the toll routes on the northern side of this area. And it can shave off several minutes of your trip. We'll talk about another thing that will help this traffic from the Western Branch side to the rest of the south side here shortly. So let's do a little compare and contrast between Western Branch and the South Chesapeake and Virginia Beach areas. First of all, why do people move to South Chesapeake and Virginia Beach? Well, one of the big reasons is school districts. Virginia Beach and South Chesapeake have some of the top ranked schools in the state. Now, you got several in Virginia Beach and in Chesapeake. Virginia Beach, for example, is the second ranked city as far as schools goes according to niche.com in the entire state. So that is one huge reason why people go to these sections. In addition to that, you got pretty reasonable access to places in Virginia Beach, lots of commerce, lots of businesses, a lot of people that work in Virginia Beach, and the military in Norfolk Navy Base and the other bases in Norfolk and Virginia Beach. So going to South Chesapeake and to Virginia Beach is relatively close, or is perceived to be pretty close, so there is a demand for that easy access also. And you've got lots of things to do. Downtown Virginia Beach, downtown Norfolk, that whole section of the south side has a lot of things to do. And other than going into South Chesapeake where it's more residential and some outdoor stuff, but just not a lot of nightlife, that kind of stuff. Now let's go back over to Western Branch and talk about why people might want to move to this area. Well, let's talk about those schools, for example. We've talked about the higher ranked school systems in South Chesapeake, and those are widely discussed. Grassfield, Hickory, Great Bridge primarily, and also a lot of the schools in Virginia Beach. But what if I told you that there were several schools, elementary, middle, and high schools, that were ranked in the top third up to even the top 15% in the state in those respective grades? For example, Western Branch High School is the high school in this area. It's ranked number 19 of 53 total high schools in the state of Virginia. Not the the very best, but it's up there. Then if you go to Western Branch Middle School, it's ranked number 10 of 72 schools and middle schools. That's pretty high. Add that to Jolliffe Middle School, the other middle school in this area. It's number 14 of 72. So you've got some elementary, middle, and high schools that are pretty highly ranked. Again, not like state acclaimed, number 1 in the area, all that stuff, but pretty solidly ranked for what you're getting price-wise in this area, and we'll talk about price a little bit later. In addition to that, there are lots of military bases on this side. You've got the Coast Guard, you've got the Portsmouth Naval Hospital, you've got the Department of Defense, and you've also had the Norfolk Naval Shipyard on the southeastern section of Portsmouth. And then going to the peninsula, you've got Langley and Fort Eustis. Those are the 2 largest bases on that side. And you have pretty easy access to all of those bases. And then you've got what I would consider the Greenbrier of the West, at Chesapeake Square. Now you've possibly looked into Greenbrier, which is in the south section of Chesapeake, which is like, it's the kind of the hub of that area. Lots of shopping, lots of close access points, lots of nice residential areas, and easy access to Virginia Beach. Well, then you've got, if you go towards Western Branch, you have the same or similar thing over in this side called Chesapeake Square. You've got the mall, you've got a Target, Walmart, Sam's Club, Best Buy, all the big box stores, and easy access to other shopping areas as well. Up towards an area in northeastern Suffolk called Harborview, which has more good shopping up there, grocery stores like Kroger. One of my favorite Krogers is up there. So you have, within several minutes drive, either easy access to Chesapeake Square, or you can go an extra few minutes up to Harborview. So you have a lot of the same things on this Western Branch section that you have over in the south section of Chesapeake, or in parts of Virginia Beach too. There are also plenty of opportunities in Western Branch to hit the like button for the YouTube algorithms, but in addition to this area, you also have the sections on the north side in Harborview, in the Suffolk area, which has a lot of new construction or newer style houses also, only like 10 to 12 minutes away further north. And another benefit to this section in Western Branch is you're not very far away from Hampton and Newport News. That's the sneaky thing about this area, is once you leave Western Branch and go north, you're only about 10 to 12 minutes away from the Monitor Merrimack Bridge Tunnel going towards the Hampton and Newport News. And the risk of high traffic through this tunnel is not nearly as much as if you have to go over to the Hampton Roads Bridge Tunnel on the other side going towards Hampton and Newport News. So if you're going to Langley, you're going to Fort Eustis, or just working in that section, you're not too far away. Now let's talk about the real estate. This is where I think it gets juicy, because there are a lot of great neighborhoods in this area and the price ranges are ridiculous. So first of all, there are lots of houses in this area that are between like 2,000, 3,000, 4,000 square feet. And in South Chesapeake and Virginia Beach, there are a lot of people that go to those sections and want to pay to get in those areas because of the school districts, and like we talked about, great houses, great location. But what if I told you that you could get the same kind of house in Western Branch for probably $75,000 less or more in a lot of cases than what you could if you bought the same kind of house, the same kind of area in Virginia Beach or Chesapeake? It can happen. There are lots of areas in Western Branch that are in the upper 300s to mid $400,000 price ranges that are really, really nice for the price. For example, Brittany Woods, Green Meadow Forest, Wellington, I've brought that up in another video. Jolliffe Woods is, oh my gosh, great for the price. Myers Farm. This whole area over in Western Branch, for the most part, most of the houses are under $500,000. Even when the market has bounced up in the most recent times, the houses still haven't reached too much at or over $500,000 except for new construction, which in that same price range in Virginia Beach or South Chesapeake is so competitive. You might find yourself making an offer with 10, 15, 20 other people. Now you will get that still in Western Branch, but not nearly to the same level, which is another reason why I like this area, because while you may have to pay over asking price in a lot of situations still in this market, there's a chance you might not have to pay as much over asking price or guarantee as much over appraisal. Looking at the average sales prices in South Chesapeake and Virginia Beach and Western Branch, look at these. Let's compare all the houses in South Chesapeake, Virginia Beach, and Western Branch that are all 2,500 square feet or higher, detached houses, 3 bedrooms or more. Let's look at the numbers and see what I'm talking about here. If you look at Virginia Beach, the average sales price for this type of house is over $588,000. Then compare that to South Chesapeake, $469,000 in South Chesapeake. But going over to Western Branch, that number drops to $423,000 and change. This is drastic, but you notice in this area, the 50s, 60s, 70s, and 80s where most of these houses were built. This is where a lot of the growth started in this area. But in the mid to late 90s, there was kind of a lull in construction. There was some construction being built, but not as much. Not until it got to the early to mid 2000s. That's where the boom started coming back up again. A lot of new construction was built between 2005, even up to 2015, 16, 17, and there's still new construction happening now, but because of the demand, because of the scarcity of land, there's just not as much being built currently, but there is some. You can get a decent housing in here under $275, under $250. It's almost unheard of to get that in Virginia Beach and parts of Chesapeake. For example, if you just want a basic kind of this modest house for a lower price, Dunedin. You can get a Dunedin house under $260. Other neighborhoods like Chadwick Terrace, Drum Creek Farms, Dock Landing, other neighborhoods, Point Elizabeth, one of the best values I think on this side, but some awesome waterfront property. And then Riverbend, another neighborhood up here that is 3,000 to 4,000 square feet, sometimes higher than that. But for the price, you're gonna still get a house between $450 and $550, which again, for the size is excellent. And then some of these neighborhoods are on the water, and some of this waterfront property, you can get it under $700,000. And for what you're getting, the size, the lot, the view, the access to the river, Elizabeth River, that goes really, you could take it anywhere up into the bay. You could go as far as you wanted. That property value in other places would jump way up. So for under $700,000 to get what you're getting here is really, really rare. And I get it. Virginia Beach has lots of different neighborhoods, lots of different areas. The price ranges are wide. But my point here is you can get a great house in Western Branch for a much lower price compared to South Chesapeake or to Virginia Beach. But that being said, there are some drawbacks to this area, and let's go into those things. Number one is the drive. We've talked about the drive to Virginia Beach and to Norfolk and the rest of Chesapeake. It's just farther. So it's gonna take you 40 minutes on a good day to get to Oceana Naval Air Station, for example, or to the beach. Now you can get there a little bit faster. You can also, and sometimes in rush hour, it can take you 50 minutes or longer, an hour to get to that far section of Virginia Beach. The reason that there is lots of variance here is because there's a section of Interstate 64 that takes you from Western Branch all the way down through Chesapeake towards Virginia Beach that can back up a lot, and it's around the area called the high-rise bridge. Now this high-rise bridge it's a high bridge, and for a while it's been 2 lanes going one way and 2 lanes going the other way. But one fix to this is currently they are fixing and renovating this bridge to double the size of it. It's not done yet, but it's projected to be done in December of 2022. So in about 2 years, we will have twice as many lanes going back and forth in this section of the interstate. Now another downside is there's just not a whole lot of activities or lots of things to do in Western Branch. It's not a huge area. There's not a lot of nightlife, not a lot of unique things to do in these areas. You might find yourself going back over to Norfolk, downtown Norfolk, or to downtown Virginia Beach or the beach to get lots more things to do. In addition to that, there's no actual beach on this side either. So you have to go back either north towards Hampton or across to all the popular beaches in the Virginia Beach area. And then in addition to that, it's almost like when you live in this section, I think, it feels like you are far enough away from everything to where you might not always spend as much time with friends that live in Virginia Beach or South Chesapeake. It just feels farther, like it feels like the other side of the area. And especially if you go towards Norfolk, up in that area, you can take the tolls. Tolls can rack up expense too, so you might save yourself 7-8 minutes. Is it worth it? I don't know, but it's $233 each way per trip, so you can spend a good solid $90 a month for tolls if you use it every day during work weeks. But even then, even if you spent that money in tolls, it's still, to me, cheaper monetarily to go into Western Branch as opposed to South Chesapeake or Virginia Beach. That being said, it does not mean that this is the perfect place to move. Again, the schools aren't ranked as high, but they are still solidly ranked. If you go to niche.com, check them out on great schools. Now, if you want more information about Chesapeake or Virginia Beach, I've got videos here and here. You can subscribe to my channel, and I have my contact information below in the description. If you have any questions about moving or living in Chesapeake, Virginia Beach, or areas around this whole area, you can always call me or email me. You can ask me questions anytime, and I'll do whatever I can to help you and also help you relocate here to this area. And I will see you on the next video.